So this is a quick guide to the Boeing 737-800 flight management computer for the Virtual Aerospace Shoreham simulator. The first thing to do once you get started is to clear all the failures, if there are any. There aren't any because I've already cleared them, so that will get all of your navigation displays, etc. loaded and working. Once you're there, press menu, go into maintenance again, go into the weight, and you can refuel the aircraft from here. So ideally for a sort of 60-minute session, about 3 tons of fuel in the left and 3 tons of fuel in the right would suffice. Any longer you can go up to about 4 tons, and then obviously you can use the centre tank as well. Once that's done, you can then start programming the flight management computer. For the sake of this example, I'm going to program it from a flight from London Gatwick to Birmingham. So we go into FMC, start in the ident page, so just start here. We're supposed to check everything here in the real world. Obviously it's all up to date and okay. It's a simulator, so it doesn't really matter as much. The position initialization, so we'll put in our reference airport as Gatwick, Echo Golf Kilo Kilo. And then if we're on a gate, we put the gate number, but we're actually on the runway 08 right, so no gate that we need to put in there. And then we can go into our route. So our origin automatically goes down to the scratch pad, which is quite useful. And then we put in our destination, which in this case is Birmingham, Echo Golf Bravo Bravo. But we can activate that route, and then you can execute it at this point. You don't really have to. Carry on moving through. We go into the performance page. So for the gross weight, I generally, as a general number, just for being quick with the simulator, I use 51.5 tons gross weight. That will also give us a 0 fuel weight. For reserves, as a general number, I use about 2 tons and a cost index of 30. Cruise altitude, again, entirely up to you. I will generally put in something like flight level 100 for customers. Execute that, and then into the N1 limit. I personally don't recommend derating the engines as they are there. Obviously customers sometimes pitch a nose to about 30-45 degrees. If you derate the engines, you're increasing the chance of a stall. These aren't real engines, there's no real need to preserve the life of them, so let's make life easier for the customers. Don't derate the engines. On the takeoff page, take off flap 5, and then the centre of gravity, I, as a general number, use about 26, and that's giving me quite an unusual trim. That's probably because the sim's on pause and it hasn't registered the extra fuel weight. But anyway, once that's all done, you've got your V speeds here, which you can put in now, but there's no point because they'll get deleted once we select our departure and arrival, which is the next thing to do. So we go into depart, the departure for Gatwick, so we're departing off runway 08 right. And again, for the sake of simplicity with customers, we do not need to fly an instrument departure, so we can execute that. And then for the arrival into Birmingham, we can select any runway we want. I'm just going to select ILS approach on runway 15. And again, keep things simple for the customers, no need for a standard arrival. Execute that. And then that's now loaded into the route page, which means we should have a flight plan, but of course we're not going to at the moment, and the reason for that is because we haven't done this next bit. So next thing we need to do is go into the legs page, and you'll notice that the reason we have no flight plan is because we're nowhere, we have a discontinuity, and then the course intercept for runway 15. So really, to head directly there from where we are now, you put course intercept down to the scratch pad, pop it up to the top, and then Bob's your uncle. Also you have your flight up in the plan mode, which makes sense, heading sort of in a northwesterly direction. That does make sense. So we can execute that, go back into here, and then we can go into takeoff, and then we can enter our V speeds. 120 for V1, 121 rotate, and V2 at 132. Pre-flight status is now complete. That tells us that we've done everything that we need to do in the flight management computer pre-flight to prepare it. In terms of programming the radios, obviously if they're like they are at the moment, they're off, they're not working, you would go into the maintenance page, com nav, and you've got everything up here. So the communications radio, the navigation. So if I, for example, wanted to set the navigation to 111.80, I would put it into the scratch pad and then move it up to nav 1. Simple as that. To find the approach reference for the airport you'll be landing at, so in this case it would be Birmingham, I can go to the approach page on the flight management computer, which you can get to when you're doing your descent by pressing init-ref, or going to menu, FMC and approach as I've done. And it will give you all the information here. ILS 15 is 110.10, India Bravo India Romeo, and the course and runway heading is 147. So that gives us that information, which is obviously quite useful when we go into ComNav. And obviously we would set the course 147 up there. Something to bear in mind, because this course knob isn't working at the moment, something I've learned today is make sure that the captain's side has the master flight director. Otherwise it will start doing some really, really crazy stuff. But in short, that's probably about everything you'll need to know for the flight management computer to get everything running.